The Blade Runner soundtrack was composed by Vangelis for Ridley Scott's 1982 film Blade Runner. It is mostly a dark, melodic combination of classical composition and synthesizers which mirrors the futuristic film noir envisioned by Scott. Since the premiere of the film, 2 official albums have been released containing music omitted from the film and also new compositions featuring a similar style. An orchestral rendition of part of the soundtrack was released in 1982 by the New American Orchestra. However, the original soundtrack album features vocal contributions from Demis Roussos and the sax solo by Dick Morrissey on Love Theme. The track Memories of Green from Vangelis' 1980 album See You Later was also included. A new release made in 2007 includes a disc of new music inspired by the film. The film also features a G Nomato by the Japanese group ensemble Nipponia, and harpist Gail Lawton's Pompeii 76 AD. 2 songs used prominently in the work print, If I Didn't Care by the Ink Spots and Karan by Brian Eno and David Byrne, were omitted from the theatrical release of Blade Runner. The original soundtrack release was delayed for over a decade, until 1994, despite the music being well received by fans and critically acclaimed. Nominated in 1983 for a BAFTA and Golden Globe as Best Original Score. Also, there was the promise of a soundtrack album from Polydor Records in the film's end titles. The 1989 compilation themes included some tracks from the film, but it was not until 2 years after the 1992 director's cut of the film that the score saw an official release. Initial releases. The first official release was a reinterpretation by the New American Orchestra in 1982. Billed as an orchestral adaptation of music composed for the motion picture by Vangelis, this release consisted of jazz-inspired, orchestrated renditions of the major tracks from the film, but not the original score tracks. In 1989, Vangelis released Themes, a compilation album featuring unreleased music from several of his film scores, as well as material from non-film related albums. The album includes the end titles, Memories of Green, and Love Theme from Blade Runner, as the first appearance of the original versions of those tracks. Official Vangelis score, 1994 release. In 1994, an official recording of Vangelis' score was released by East West in the UK and by Atlantic Records in the US. The album reached the top 20 in the UK album charts. This release contained a 12-page booklet consisting mainly of stills from the film. On page 3 there is a list of credits and the following by Vangelis. Most of the music contained in this album originates from recordings I made in London in 1982, whilst working on the score for the film Blade Runner. Finding myself unable to release these recordings at the time. It is with great pleasure that I am able to do so now. Some of the pieces contained will be known to you from the original soundtrack of the film, whilst others are appearing here for the first time. Looking back at Ridley Scott's powerful and evocative pictures left me as stimulated as before, and made the recompiling of this music, today, an enjoyable experience. While most of the tracks on the album are from the film, a number were composed by Vangelis but were ultimately not used in the film itself. Other compositions that appear in the film were not included on this release. 2007 release, Blade Runner Trilogy, 25th Anniversary. A 3-CD set was released in 2007 to coincide with a 5-DVD release to mark the 25th anniversary of the film. It includes the 1994 official CD along with 2 bonus CDs, both compiled from original material by Vangelis. The second disc includes some previously officially unreleased material, but is still not complete, omitting the main title track, for example. The third disc contains new material inspired by Blade Runner. Although this release claims to be the complete score, there is still some music heard in the film that is missing: longer length track, main titles, with prologue, heard in scene, Leon's Void Camp Test, heard in scene, Deckard meets Rachel for the first time, longer length track, Blade Runner Blues, heard in scene, Deckard's Dream, before, during and after the unicorn appears, heard in scene, Deckard's Dream, actually an alternate recording of Love Theme, heard in scene, Deckard meets the Snake Guy, at the Snake Epitaph Lewis Club, full track, before the Love Theme, full track, When Batty Walks. Around J.F. Sebastian's apartment, Missing Prelude, The Prodigal Son Brings Death, Heard in Scene, Deckard enters the Bradbury and walks up the stairs, longer length track, Deckard and Roy's duel, longer length track, end titles. The second disc, of previously unreleased music, contains additional music not present in the film, including 2 bonus tracks, one of which, Desolation Path, is a slightly different version of Alternate Love Theme I Dreamt music. This track was originally used in the work-print version of the film, during the Deckard-Rachel love scene. Bootlegs. The delays and poor reproductions of the Blade Runner score led to the production of many bootleg recordings over the years. A bootleg tape surfaced in 1982 at science fiction conventions and became popular given the delay of an official release of the original recordings, and in 1993 Off-World Music, Limited created a bootleg CD that would prove more comprehensive than Vangelis' official CD in 1994. A disc from Gongo Records features most of the same material, but more of it. The Deck Definitive Edition came about in 2001, with 27 tracks. In 2003, 2 other bootlegs surfaced, the Esper Edition, closely preceded by Los Angeles November 2019. The double-disc Esper Edition combined tracks from the official release, the Gongo boot and the film itself. Finally 2019 provided a single-disc compilation almost wholly consisting of ambient sound from the film, padded out with some sounds from the Westwood game Blade Runner. Studio tape. The first release of the Blade Runner score in any form was a tape suspected of coming from a sound engineer during the film's mixing. It was popular, despite subpar audio quality, given there were no plans to release a Vangelis score. Off-World Music, a second bootleg original motion picture soundtrack, Blade Runner appeared in 1993 by Off-World Music, Limited on CD, which was of high quality and actually more comprehensive than the official release by Vangelis in 1994. This release includes the 1939 recording by R&B group The Ink Spots. If I Didn't Care, that originally appeared in the work print of Blade Runner, but was replaced by the Don Percival cut One More Kiss, Dear in the final version. Esper Edition, in 2002 a bootleg Blade Runner, Esper Edition by Esper Productions was created, providing a comprehensive Blade Runner soundtrack. It contains some background music that has never been released. Esper Edition notes, original music composed and performed by Vangelis, Harps of the Ancient Temples written and performed by Gail Lawton, performed on tracks 3, 9 and track 5 by Demis Roussos, performed on Rachel's Song by Mary Hopkin, saxophone on tracks 2 and 9 by Dick Morrissey, lyrics and vocals on One More Kiss Steer by Don Percival. The Esper Bootleg Edition has since been updated in 2007 to be called the Retirement Edition, consisting of 6 discs. It has incorporated the missing tracks from the trilogy release. References. External links. Vangelis Blade Runner film score at nemostudios.co.uk. A synthesizer setup, recording music, and studios photographs. Bladezone.com. Visions in sound by Bentley Ersley. Blade Runner. Antas Vangelis Rarities website, The Esper Interview.